In this issue of Comic Sans, we're going to talk about our weekly top 10 pull list and a book all about space travel and steampunk.
Don't you know that you're a grown-up? No games, no punts. Not allowed if you're a grown-up.
Welcome to issue 16 of Comic Sans. As a Gen Xer, I grew up most of my adult life without comic books or Sans comics.
So in this weekly series, we take a look at indie books that you probably haven't heard of. And this week we're taking a look at Aether Empire from Blue Juice Comics. It's sort of Jules Verne's meets Star Trek.
And in our weekly top 10 pull list, a beer run goes horribly wrong.
This week on the Roundtable, we're going to take a look at Aether Empire. This is a book from publisher Blue Juice Comics, written by Michael Horan, drawn by Bong Dazo. At the heart of Victoria's reign, a scientific expedition to Mars has vanished, and the daring rescue mission is now a race against time and space. When control is wrested from fellow scientists and given to a heroic crew of Her Majesty's Navy, can the two groups work together to save the men of the first voyage? Jason, I don't know. Can they save them? Can they not? I mean, this is a crazy book.
It is. And what was great about it is the artwork is just so detailed and immersive on these ships. You have these amazing flying boats.
Right.
Yeah, and a challenge with Drawn's ship, it's in the air, so they can't hide any part of it.
Right.
You know.
No,
there's no water line.
Yeah, no, but it's there for you to see, and they do a great job with the detail of just like the intrinsic, like little artwork around the boat and the planks, and then the guns and weapons they use. Even
it's super highly detailed.
Yes, even like below deck with like the gratings, like the steps and platforms that the mechanics work on, is just really detailed, and just a lot of it just really draws you, and especially the spacesuits for the end are really awesome.
Oh yeah. I really liked it. And so now, Mark, I know that you really enjoyed this series.
Yeah.
We had we had 5 or 6 issues in this one. I mean, I kind of got lost with the count of them because of the way the covers are. It's hard to tell what issue you're on.
Yeah.
But what did you pull out of it?
I enjoyed it a lot because I sailed as a kid. So immediately I had a link to it there where they're using nautical language. And I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of remember that. And then they got into ship battles, which my dad's a real fan of that kind of era.
Oh, so this was hitting right in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, it was right there. And it had a lot of... It reminded me of a lot of things that I've liked. Sure. I got a little bit of Watchmen feel from it because it has those little articles and extras in the back.
Right.
Yeah.
I got League of Extraordinary Gentlemen feel from the covers because of that design and that era look.
Right.
And then it also reminded me a little bit because of the art of Barry Winslow Smith's Storyteller. It just had a very epic feel to it. And that's a lot of good company to be in.
Sure.
And then there was the genre crossings where you really start off steampunkish, but then it ends up almost Spelljammer. If you remember, Spelljammer was D&D's. They use magic and go into space.
Right.
They're still doing it with steampunk tech, but I got that kind of feel from it. And with them going from the steampunk then into space, and then they're encountering aliens, I'm like, what's next? Is Cthulhu going to pop up? Are they going to go through a portal into hell? I don't know.
Yeah,
but I'm interested. As soon as they started going to space, though, I was like, I'm not sure the tech quite lines up. But then they got into philosophical talks and mysteries of what's going to happen next. The kid in me just went, hey, I'm just along for the ride. Let's go.
It was easy to get lost in this entire story that they've created, this whole universe that they've done. I mean, it almost made me feel like, did maybe some of this stuff really happen? And we just now, like, is this some kind of long-lost book? No, but, I mean, it was really good, really poignant. The characters, I loved how the dialogue would change. Like, you could tell the higher-ranking guys had a certain way of speaking, and the lower-ranking, the guys in the bowels of the ship, they had a more common language. I love that take on it. Very nicely done. I did really enjoy the entire overarching story of the book. I mean, it kind of had a feel of Saturday morning cartoon, well, not Saturday morning cartoons, but like even back before that, the old Saturday morning serials that my mom would talk about going to watch in the films. The Flash Gordons and stuff where it was, like a 5-minute thing, and then, there would be some kind of cliffhanger and that would draw the kids to come back next week.
This would make an amazing TV show.
Oh,
if
absolutely.
someone would adapt it.
Oh,
it would be an
this
incredible
would be
HBO
crazy
show.
great for show. Yeah. No, this would be awesome. And some of the stuff that they did in there was just mind blowing with you were talking about the tech and everything.
Yeah.
About, you know,
I love that they were chalk drawing out communications
on the communications
while
in
in
space suits.
That was
Yeah, when I
awesome.
saw that, I was like,
hilarious
oh, of
detail.
course they don't
Right,
have a
because
way
they
to
don't have
talk.
electronics.
There's no
so-
like microphones that they can use. I mean, that was awesome. Just the little how they thought that stuff out. The fact that probably 90% of the ship was water.
Right.
You know, these giant bubble water tanks, and how they talked about growing the plants. I mean, we've seen the growing the plants in an atrium and other spacefaring
Yeah,
things
but in their case,
before.
like, we have to actually make air.
Right.
We don't have
There's no
compressed
air
air.
scrubbers. There's no, so the plants do
Yeah.
all that work for them. I thought it was really brilliant how they did that, and the storyline great. You know, I couldn't enjoy this book any more if I tried. I don't think.
yeah.
Jason, let's dive into our ratings. Tell us a little bit about what you thought.
So, this was a very enjoyable book. From start to finish, it builds. Each issue is jam-packed with stuff.
Yeah.
This isn't typically a genre I'm really into. Steampunk, Victorian England, that kind of long nautical journeys
Right.
places.
But then they get into space.
They get into space.
And you're into that.
But there's some cool stuff, and the art was great, and just it was a very thought out story. I mean,
Yeah.
it was very epic, and they could
Yes.
keep this going for years and years if they wanted to. I give it 4 tokens.
4 tokens. Mark, now you haven't said very much about the book so
I know.
far, so
Yeah, I mean, I've
I
been a
know
little
it's
quiet,
probably
but
going to be
kinda
a
holding
little,
my opinion back.
low back. So tell us a little
Yeah,
bit.
I
What's
mean,
your
it really reminded me of so many great things that I loved.
Sure.
And to be in that kind of company, even if it's just in my mind, I put it up there with that. This
Right.
would be the book if someone was going to get into something now. I'd be like, go get this one.
Right.
Just go read it. Go check it out. This one, I was really so thoroughly impressed by it. So I gave it 4 3/4 tokens.
4 3/4? Wow, almost a perfect score.
Yeah. Yep.
Man, all right. So I enjoyed the book a lot as well. I got to talk with the guys who published this
Right.
book over at MegaCon this year. That's where we found this book and everything. Super nice guys over there. Really enjoyed the storyline. One thing I did find out in communicating with them after the fact, there is a volume 2 coming.
Oh, fantastic.
They are creating it. It'll
Yeah.
be out in 2019 is the goal. So I don't know if they're going to release all 6 issues at once, because when we found this book, all 6 issues were already out. Or if they're going to release them, in a 1 per month kind of a
Yeah.
thing. But however they decide to do it, I'm all on board. That being said, I gave this book 4 1/4 tokens out of 5. So great solid entry from Blue Juice. We look to review some more of their books in the future. If this is any indication, I think there's going to be a lot of fun
Yeah,
had from
there
Blue
was
Juice
a
Comics.
lot of love put into this book. You
Absolutely.
can very much tell that. I thought, wow, how well this team worked together.
Yeah. So if you guys want to check it out, Blue Juice Comics will have their website and all the information down below. Check them out, grab them. If not, go talk to your local comic book shop and get them to order this thing right away, because this is a great book. Guys, we actually got to talk with the guy who wrote this book at
Awesome.
MegaCon this year. So we grabbed a little quick interview with him, so let's check it out.
I'm Mike Horan, and I've been a writer since I was in high school. Screenplays mostly, and that is what this started out as. It sat on my shelf for a few years, and the guys at Blue Juice Comics told me that it would make a pretty good comic book. So I just converted it over, and the rest was history. Aether Empire is Victorian science fiction. It draws on a lot of different things that I've always loved. It draws on space. It draws on stories of British colonialism like Zulu and the Four Feathers. And I just kind of mixed and mashed all that stuff up together and wrote a book that I would want to see. My favorite memory growing up as a Gen Xer, easy, Saturday morning cartoons. Before they sucked. I was always the first one out of bed, sitting in front of the TV, watching G.I. Joe and Thundercats and He-Man. I loved them all.
Today on the Comic Sans Weekly Top 10 Pull List, from Image, poor Ryan DeLuca didn't buy enough beer for his party. and while he was out on a beer run, his idiot buddies busted out some mystical arcana and performed a summoning ceremony in Leviathan, issue number 1. From Dynamite, heroes come from the past, and now they have to prove their relevance in the modern world in Project Superpowers, issue number 1. From Dark Horse, a rogue Martian joins forces with the down-and-out heroes of the Quantum League, only to find themselves on the run from powerful militia forces in The Quantum Age, issue number 2. From Titan Books, Nash is a trucker who sees ghosts, and when the moon is on the rise and violence threatens his friends, he roams as a wolf? It's Brother Nash, issue number 3. From Aftershock, the mother of all monsters has decided to wage war against Shrey's Ark in Dark Art, issue number 9. From Titan Books, Rama is trapped in prison, and he has to protect an undercover cop, as well as himself in The Raid, issue number 1. From Marvel, the Infinity Stones and the war to control them comes to Earth, but none who wield them know the truth about the power they contain in Infinity Wars, issue number 1. From Image, Dorma returns home to deliver the news of her brother's passing to her parents. While preparing the burial rites, she must face the darkness of the ancestral home that she's feared all her life in Scales and Scoundrels, issue number 11. From Scout Comics, Piper and Francis have gone missing and are now lost and alone. Together they must struggle and survive as they make their way back to Hazel Patch in Long Lost, Book 2, issue number 1. From Burger Books, the rich scramble into escape rockets, the poor head into the lawless wilds of Zone B. A few aliens come to collect the last dregs of humanity, and an idealistic journalist finds the story of a lifetime in The Seeds, issue number 1. Guys, issue Sweet 16 of Comic Sans in the book. What are you giving me the look
Gen
for?
13, that was, kind of clever, but Sweet 16?
Sweet 16, come on,
Oh, boy.
that's nice.
The show can drive now.
I'm
right?
not getting you a car.
You're not gonna. We're gonna need one for all these books that we keep collecting. Everybody keeps sending in all these books. We're so far behind.
Well, I mean, we want to review books, so we appreciate you sending
absolutely.
it to us.
Don't stop. So, had a great time doing the episode. It's a great book. Hope you guys go check it out. Jason, thank you very much for stopping by.
Oh, yeah, my pleasure. I got to catch a flight to Mars.
You got to catch a flight to Mars?
A boat to Mars, yeah.
Right.
Mark, are you going to hop on board
We're going
with
to pot on the kettle for you so you can steam it up.
Nice. Well, thank you very much for stopping by.
Definitely. Thanks for having me again.
We'll see you guys next time.
Don't you know that you're a grown-up?
Subscribe to Gen X Grown Up by clicking right here and enable notifications so you won't miss a thing. Use the comments down below to tell us what you think, and while you're there, a thumbs up would be great too. Please share this online wherever you hang out. Connect with GXG on social networks by clicking right here.
Basically, life sucks as a grown-up.